Sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. Who knows the answer? Let's agree is one. It's much too late for war, not peace. It makes no sense for human eyes to feed, 'cause you can't see. Let's learn to disagree, can't we? Just be one family. The greatest love of all is to love yourself. When you're filled with love, you love someone else.
Hello, and welcome to the Lessons of Love show. I'm Dr. Jennifer Alves, Doctor of Physical Therapy, and the author of the 10 Commandments for Loving Yourself. Today we're going to be continuing our segment on the 10 Commandments for Loving Yourself. We are at lesson 3, which is do not tolerate any physical harm. Now what does that mean, do not tolerate any physical harm? Well, the word any means an, like an incident or one incident. So what that means is that you should not tolerate a single incident of physical harm. So that means you should have a zero tolerance for physical harm. There's nobody out there that deserves to be physically harmed. Let me begin by telling you that if you are currently in a situation where you are being physically harmed and you wish to get out of that situation, remember that you should not confront the abuser without a safety plan in place. There are many organizations set up to help you exit a relationship safely. And exiting a relationship is the most dangerous and sensitive time and can lead to further violence and harm. So you have to exercise this with extreme caution. If you're looking to get out of a relationship right now, please take a moment to contact the professionals that can help you get a safety plan in place. At the end of this show, we'll have some numbers posted on the show that you can contact if you need to get out of a relationship. Okay? So let's just begin our discussion by taking a look at some of the statistics that are out there. Now, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence will tell you that 1 in 4 women in their lifetime will be a victim of domestic violence. 1 in 4. Now, violence is not just against women, it's also against men. Let's look at sexual violence, for example. 1 in 6 women will experience an attempt or an actual rape in their lifetime, and 1 in 33 men will experience a rape or an attempted rape in their lifetime. So this is not just a problem with women, it's also happening to men as well. In fact, it's an epidemic. Another statistic is that in the 70 to 80% of partner intimate homicides that were reported, no matter which person was killed, the man physically abused the woman prior to the actual homicide. So you see, there are warning signs that precede an incident like homicide, for example. So what is physical harm? Well, let me think about that. Now, is a shove considered harm? If someone shoved me like that, is that physical harm? Well, I guess you can take a look at the intent. You know, were they laughing? Do you consider them your friend? Did you feel threatened or intimidated? There are different types of physical harm, or abuse, we should call it, okay? There's financial abuse, where someone cuts you off financially so you have no money to do anything with. There is sexual abuse, a type of physical abuse. There's emotional abuse, intimidation. Isolation is one, where the person that you're with might slowly intimidate you to start cutting off your friends and family, so you become isolated and you lose your support system. There's all different types of physical abuse. All right, we're going to take a look at the cycle of abuse. The cycle of abuse, actually there are many cycles of abuse out there. You can read about them online, and they're all pretty much saying the same thing. But there's a cycle involved with abuse. And the cycle involves having tension, an event phase, a makeup phase, and a downtime phase. Now in the tension phase, that's where things start to escalate. Perhaps there's some elevated and heated arguments or something like that. Then, as that kind of progresses, then it leads into an event. Now, the event is the physical abuse, the shoving, the slapping, whatever it is. And then there's the makeup time. Sometimes they call it like a new honeymoon period. People get, they ask for your forgiveness, they bring you flowers, they bring you gifts, everything's really hunky-dory. And then they go into like a quiet downtime, a little bit of peace and quiet here, and then it starts building up into this tension again, and the tension then leads into heated arguments, and that argument leads into the event, and then it goes into this makeup period of flowers and gifts and things like that, and this downtime. And as you can see, it turns into a cycle of abuse. Now, some of you might ask, what does the abuser want? Well, the goal of the abuser is control. Abusers need control. And when they have the victim caught in this cycle, they really do have control over that victim. So what we're trying to suggest here is that there's a cycle, and what you need to do is to break the cycle. Now, one way to break the cycle is to do what we call an overlay. Overlay this cycle with a new cycle. Now, what we're suggesting is that you have a zero tolerance for abuse. A zero tolerance. See, when we overlay a zero tolerance of abuse over the abuse cycle, then you're breaking that cycle. Because nobody deserves to be abused. There's not one person out there for any reason that deserves to be abused. So why are people tolerating abuse? Why do they tolerate it? There are so many different reasons, as we have been discussing. There's financial reasons. They may not see a way out of the situation that they're in. Some people feel they deserve to be abused. Maybe that's what they've seen in their home lives, and that's all they really know. Some people think that if that person really loves them because they keep coming back, that they really, in fact, love them. Otherwise, that person would have left. But that's, like we said, that's not really true here, because the goal of the abuser is control. So, as you can see, it's a very vicious cycle. And it's hard to break out of on your own. So that's why it's so important for you to understand that if you're trying to get out of an abusive situation, there are supportive services that you can contact. It's very dangerous to exit an abusive relationship by yourself. And before you attempt to do it, make sure you have a safety plan in place. Some people also out there think that perhaps maybe they really love the other person. They just love that person so much, and they don't want to necessarily leave that person. But what you need to understand is that person needs to seek help. So don't tolerate it. Even if you love that person, love yourself first. Ask the other person to go get help. And protect yourself. Because it only takes one time, one shove, one hit for you to actually become possibly disabled. I've seen many people have broken backs, broken necks, because they've allowed themselves to be abused one time. That's all it takes. So I hope that you come to realize that you are special. There's only one of you. You only have one body. You have to take care of yourself. You do not deserve to have abuse at all. So please have a zero tolerance for abuse. Get the help you need. Let the other person get the help they need. As we mentioned, at the end of the show, there are some contact numbers for you so that if you're in any sort of situation like this, you can get the help and get a safety plan in place. I hope that you realize how special you are, because there is only one of you, and when you love yourself, you really should not tolerate any physical harm. When you learn to love yourself, you'll be in a better position to find someone that you really love and that really loves you and be able to accept that. Enough of what I have to say about physical abuse. Let's take it to the streets and see what other people might have to say about it.
Hello, I'm Kathy, and I'm here today with Benedict. And our special topic is do not accept physical harm. Now, Benedict, what I want to ask you about is it okay for a person to accept physical harm?
My feeling is absolutely no way. You know, I've never been harmed before. I've never been hit before. And even when I see with my son, when there's sometimes bullying at school or there's somebody who just sort of shoves him, I just really intervene, and I've contacted parents and had discussions and had the kids talk with each other and just to say this is not okay. And as well with adults, with, you know, within a relationship, even within a friendship, there's absolutely never any kind of need, you know, for any kind of abuse, either emotionally or physically.
Now, what about a push or a slap? Something that is not overtly severe.
I absolutely think it's not acceptable.
Now, why would...
There's no reason for anyone to ever slap anyone else. It's with our son, we have a 6-year-old son, and we're teaching him that there's no reason that you should ever slap anyone or that anyone should ever slap you. And I said, you have a voice, you can use your voice. You also have the freedom, if you're in a relationship, to step out of it, to contact help and say, I need support. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is not okay.
All right. That's great that you step in and intervene.
In a way, I think there needs to be this coming back, a re-education of loving yourself, and not with just words, but in everyday actions of taking these steps where you discover again what respect is and what love is and what nurturing yourself means. And that's probably the best gift you can give anybody. Your children, your spouse.
Who is this for? For the victim or for the batterer?
I think it's for both. I think there needs to be a complete re-education on both sides. I think that just putting more pressure, more abuse on the abuser, that also doesn't do anything. I think that there needs to be a completely new way of re-education.
Benedict, I want to thank you for giving your opinion and being on our show and inviting us into your lovely home.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
We're here today with Gloria Greenfield at the Sojourner's House.
Yes.
And now where are you located? Do you have one location, or where are you located?
Our drop-in center is located at 386 Smith Street in Providence, and we also have an emergency shelter and residential program in Woonsocket, but that's confidential location.
Okay. First, I want to thank you for joining our show. And what we're discussing today is that we have, what we're teaching is that people should have a zero tolerance for abuse.
Correct.
None, like zero tolerance. And I was wondering what you thought about that, and if you think even a little shove is considered abuse.
Well, I think first of all, is your body. You should not tolerate any type of unwanted touch. Mm-hmm. You should not allow anybody to harm you in any way, emotional, verbally, mentally, much less physical. So yes, I would say absolutely no tolerance when it comes to relationships. No tolerance of abuse when it comes to relationships.
Okay, so you do agree with that, zero tolerance?
Absolutely.
Do you find that there's some, and when it comes to abuse, that there are some kind of warning signs in a relationship before there's an actual a situation of physical abuse?
Yes, there are absolutely a lot of red flags that people can see and determine before the real abuse starts. Somebody who is possessive, somebody who is absolutely jealous for no reason, mm-hmm. Usually that's a sign that the person might become abusive towards the person that they say they love. Also, there's financial abuse. Some people like to hold on the money, the household money, just to control the partner in a certain way. So there are different things that people can look for and then make a self-assessment and see if they are in a potential dangerous situation. And we can definitely help our clients to determine that when they meet with an advocate and they can talk a little bit more about their current situation. We can help them to figure out if they are indeed in a violent situation.
Oh, you can help them determine if they're being abused if they don't understand that or see that themselves.
Yes, the dynamics of domestic violence vary from relationship to relationship, but there are certain parameters that people can see, and that way they can realize that they are in a violent situation without even knowing it. So we usually like to sit down and assess the whole situation and then say, look, this is abuse, you should not be tolerating this is abuse. And that way some people realize, wow, I'm in a domestic violence situation I don't even know about.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we definitely help people to do that. And also if they realize they are in a violent situation, we can help them to create a safety plan. What to do in an emergency situation with, let's say, a tension surface in the relationship, and then how to handle it and how to avoid to be harmed by your partner if a situation like that comes, you know, at some point. So we help them to create a safety plan. That way they are prepared and they know what to do in case of an emergency.
So my understanding is that when someone wants to exit a relationship, it's really one of the most dangerous times. Is that correct?
It is. It is. Usually when the abuser realizes that he's losing what he thought he had, it's when it can become really, really dangerous for the person trying to leave their relationship. That's why we create a safety plan.
Okay.
And that involves a lot of things, but it's important phone numbers that you should have with you at all times. Where are you saving some money, some cash money, in case you're leaving the abuser in a rush? And where are you going to stay with? Where are your kids going to go? Who's going to pick up the kids at school? So there are different factors that you have to consider before taking that step, because when somebody's trying to leave the relationship, they got to know exactly where to go or what to do in order to avoid a dangerous situation.
Okay, now, does your service here cost any money?
Now, our services are completely free. People just call and make an appointment. Also, because we are the only drop-in center in Providence, we are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and people can show up at any time if they have any questions, if they need to talk to somebody, if they want to create their own safety plan. We're here. They can come at any time and meet with with one of our staff, and even if it's just to talk. There's always someone available here to talk. And again, the services are completely free. We're a nonprofit organization, and we're here to help. We want people to help, to seek our help and to use our services.
Okay, now what if it happens to be on a weekend or something, or late at night, and you're not open?
We
open
have
day, right?
a hotline.
Okay.
We have a hotline. It's a 24-hour staff phone number. People can call. People can get referrals. They can assess the situation on the phone. They can get the safety plan over the phone. So, and they can make the proper referrals if they need police assistance and they don't even know where to call. Then somebody on the phone can help them accomplish that.
Okay, wow. You sound like you have a lot of different referral places for people to go, all different programs. And you have follow-up programs. For example, I know maybe you have a quick shelter for somebody, but what if they need a little bit more long-term after that? You have...
Well, our shelter can accommodate the clients for as long as they need to. It doesn't have to be 3 weeks and you're out. If they need to be there longer, they're always going to be welcome to stay. But we also have transitional housing program. We try to move our shelter clients to more permanent house, but it's not completely permanent. Once they move to